Chadwick.
Yeah, man.
Welcome to the van.
It's good to see you. It's been a long time.
Great to see you too.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, were we in high school together at the same time?
Yeah, I think for at least a couple of years. What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2011.
Yeah, so I was 09, so we would have been for a couple of years, I think, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember you from back then, for sure.
I love to have on people who do various creative things. You are a fantastic musician. I've been a fan for a long time.
Thanks,
I will tell you, before we get into this, I went by my parents' house to get something.
Uh-oh.
Because this is...
Oh, no.
Like I said, I've been a fan for a long time.
Oh, man, that's the very first one right there.
Right there, my stupid brother.
That is Cringe City, is what that is.
So you were in a band with your stupid brother, or
yeah?
what's the backstory of that?
Or was I the stupid brother?
Yeah. So I was going to ask, what was the naming convention? Or really, feel free to introduce yourself. I'm sorry, I'm getting.
Oh no, this is all good. Yeah, that was a band that I was in with my brother for a long time. And this was the first album that we ever made, and we learned how to. My dad engineered it, produced it, and taught us, started to sort of show us the ropes on this thing. And my voice, like, for most of it was like completely not changed at all at this point, and then for some of it was like cracking and starting to change, and it's a difficult listen for me these days. But
had some dynamic range to
yeah,
it, huh?
Yeah. But
that's cool. I was like, man, these guys are playing music. They're like big time. I think I was in middle school at the time. Bought the CD. Were you on MySpace at the time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, MySpace was what was up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of missed that from a music perspective. That was it was like it lent itself to bands, you know. It was like they would always feature like a artist of the day on the cover page and stuff. And
I vaguely remember. I also wasn't allowed to have MySpace for a long time, so I don't know why.
That's fair.
But yeah, and you could like highlight like a song of your choice on your profile.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to look cool to your friends. Like,
absolutely.
Oh yeah, this song with bad words.
You could deck out your profile. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There was like Pimp My Profile, I think. That was a website.
Oh my gosh, I remember.
At one point, yeah.
Wow, we're dating ourselves.
I know.
Sure. But but please introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, my name's Henry Chadwick, and I'm a musician and recording artist, engineer, producer as well for other bands and whatnot too. Yeah.
So how did you get into music?
I would always joke that we were sort of brainwashed into it, but we grew up in a very like musical family. I guess my mom was a singer-songwriter. When I remember going to see her, one early memory, seeing her open up for like Jonathan Richman at Cumbia in Santa Cruz, and so she was doing like singer-songwriter stuff, and my dad was an engineer and producer down in Hollywood before I was born in the 80s, and then he worked at Cherokee Studios. And when my older brother George, this guy, was born in 88, they moved up to Santa Cruz to just escape what I can only assume was pretty some insanity down in Hollywood in the 80s. But yeah, he like built a studio in the backyard, in the shed in the backyard, and raised us. You know, it was just around, and we took to it, and it stuck with me, I guess. You know, that's the origin story.
I mean, that would definitely make a musician for sure. For people who don't know, we're from this small town, Ben Lomond. That's
yes.
Where you were born and raised, right?
Yeah, born in Santa Cruz.
Okay.
And then moved to Ben Lomond from Aptos when I was like 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so most of my life up here.
I feel like the nature of a small town, at least for me, it's like you know people who don't necessarily know you, and you like know things about them, not like in a creepy way, but it's like I knew that your family, like your mom, didn't she do like the repertory theater and stuff?
Yeah, and she still does actually. Yeah,
really?
Which is crazy. Yeah, it's been like many years now, and she's like they've gotten crazier and crazier with these mishmashes of storylines, and it's cool. Yeah, they did one this year.
Did you participate in those plays when you were younger?
Yes, absolutely. And it was fun. Yeah, I guess for the listener, it's like these plays, they're like classic, fairy tale or just, plays that you'd be familiar with, but with kind of Weird Al vibes of like rewriting rock songs and pop songs and things to fit the storyline.
So you can add actor to your resume as well.
I've done some acting, yeah. And like it's funny, those like skills have definitely come in handy in weird times. I've like worked for Universal Audio for many years. I got hired to do some like acting for commercials for them and things.
Has anybody ever said you should definitely be a comedian as well?
Oh,
I watched this video the other day. It was one of your videos on YouTube. It was about you, like the process of making a song, like Behind the Magic or something.
oh yeah, the Inside the Magic stuff. Yeah.
I like clicked on this video. I'm like, I want to see what you're putting out there. And I was by myself and I'm busting up. You were just cracking me up. You're like putting effects over what you're saying and talking about the process of making a song. It was so funny.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I started doing those last year when we were all hunkered down, you know, and it was like, I want to do more of them too. I got to make myself do another, maybe I'll call it season 2. But
oh, you have more than one?
Yeah, I think I did like 5 or 6 of them. And just, yeah, picking apart. It's such a silly, nerdy topic and subject to just, you know.
To talk about how you make music?
Yeah, that when I'm editing it together, there was just like, I think it just made me laugh to like do weird things with it, make my voice drop low, and I don't know, made it more fun to watch.
What genre would you say that is the music that you're making, or is it just?
I mean, yeah, that's like been the question that haunts me. I don't know. It's like somewhere between rock and alternative and indie and a little more on like the singer-songwriter side of things, or like the mellower side of things, I guess. But then I'll also like to rock every once in a while or add some electronic drums, and I don't know. I'm sure someone else could give you a better answer than me. I know like that's a common theme with a lot of musician friends I know too. Just it's not great at describing your own music for whatever reason.
Well, it makes you happy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I love making it.
What instruments are you playing?
Live with this stuff, I play guitar and sing, and then on the recordings, I played most of the instruments. Although I did get my band, my current lineup, to play on 2 of the songs, which was cool. That was kind of a first with my solo stuff. Most of the time, I'm layering up most of the stuff, and but it was fun to have that collaborative band feel again, you know, because you know with all of my Super Brother stuff, it was very collaborative, and I used to drum in other bands too. I drummed in the Coffis Brothers for years, and it's fun, and it was liberating to sort of just be able to just like do whatever I wanted, and it is with me, you know, recording and playing all the parts and not having to have much of a discussion about what you want to do next. But then you kind of miss that sort of like, I played my guitar part and sang the part, and it's like, now what do you think it, you know, the drums should do? You know, just like kind of collaborating is kind of fun too. So
yeah, they talk about that with like even movies. It's like you can create like a movie by yourself, of course, but if you had like a whole team of writers, where would it go from there? I'll
still like bounce ideas off, like show people different early incarnations of things, or sometimes also like I will have sort of hashed out in a band practice like some sort of form of it, you know. It's that double-edged sword. It's you can kind of go wherever you want to, but then yeah, it's easy for ideas to get a little stale sometimes, I think, if you're just like, if it's just you in there, or you can just like second guess everything you're doing all the time, and it can take forever, you know. But
so what is your process for writing a song? Because like that Behind the Magic video, you're trying out different things. You have like a phone that you were using as a microphone. So what kind of happens first? Are you thinking about lyrics and what sounds will work to that? Or is it sometimes different? Something will come to you in the shower or something?
Yeah. I love experimenting with weird sounds and trying to get something to sound like something else, you know what I mean? Or like a toy. Like on the last record I did down in LA, they had this thing called a Meowsic, which was like a tiny little keyboard / it was a cat-shaped keyboard that had meow keyboard, or like different like cheesy little sounds, and then also a little mic hooked up to it, and a little speaker in it, so you could like talk through it, and it sounded distorted and whatever, but for a goof, but also just out of curiosity, I doubled a song through that, just like singing into that mic and holding the speaker up to the mic, you know, and we ended up like doubling all the vocals with that, and I don't know, I like that part of it. Kind of comes later, I think. It usually starts a very more traditional way. A lot of times it'll just be me and an acoustic guitar or something like that, and then it's like, how can I make it something a little more interesting or exciting. Or
Who would you say your big influences are in music?
I was like obsessed with like first influences, like huge Beatles fan, and like a lot of that era of music, the Kinks and the Beatles. And when I was really young, it was like, I got really into Green Day and Weezer and all that kind of. Third Eye Blind, I think, was like the first CD I picked out, and Smash Mouth's first CD. Those were like early ones, but then I got really into like all of the like kind of rock revival-y kind of stuff, like the Strokes and these days I've been really into like Phoebe Bridgers is making some really cool stuff. You ever listen to that?
Yeah, definitely.
She's great.
There's probably people that you pick and choose like different aspects of their type of music and stuff. But one of the names that you mentioned that like I'm a huge fan of is Green Day.
Oh yeah.
And actually, when I was listening to some of your stuff, I'm like, you kind of almost have like a Billy Joe like sound to your voice. Has anybody ever said that to you?
I think so. I mean, I think when I was like starting out, I think it's like residual at this point. Like when I was starting out, especially with the old band, back in high school, like a record after this one that you pulled out, especially, I was like definitely, I think consciously, maybe subconsciously, but it was like when you start out, you just start trying to sound like whatever your big influences of the time are. So I think there was definitely some emulating Billy Joe's voice on that stuff, and then I think I shed that to a degree, but it's just, it's like a...
No, I mean, in a great way.
No, I'm a huge fan, so thank you. But I think it's funny, it's like whatever you... And sometimes I feel like I sing with like almost like a British accent sounding sometimes.
Okay, I can see that.
But I sort of try not to, but it just comes out because I feel like whatever... Actually, I think there's like a study I heard about where it's like it's like an accent, right? Where if you're learning to talk, it's almost different. Like whatever you learn, whatever you sing along with when you're starting to learn how to sing or whatever, and it's like your singing accent is like different than your...
Which would explain your huge influence was the Beatles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I
can see where that would come in.
It sneaks out for sure, the faux British accent thing.
Yeah. What's cool about like music and people singing is that there's not like one right way to sing, and everybody has their own unique voice, and it just like that is their style. Like Billy Joe Armstrong. Actually, I saw him play in LA.
Just
like
him?
2 years. He's in like a side project band called The Long Shot.
Oh, is that like the cover band sort of thing? Was it?
Yeah, he's like the lead singer.
Rad.
Because I lived in LA for like 6 months, and LA's cool because on any given night you can go, well, not during COVID probably, but like across the city there's like 50 live shows, like small venues and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was going around and just like shooting video for different groups and stuff, and I saw them come through, and that was really cool. So like, 300 people in a room, and he's just rocking out with this band.
That's super cool. Yeah.
But I've always been really inspired by musicians and kind of, just great sounds.
Yeah.
I got a guitar on my last day of 6th grade, like this electric Behringer.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Never learned how to play it. So I've always been just envious of people who can play music. So how old were you when you like were able to play guitar?
I learned like an E minor and like the easy version of a G with just like playing some of the strings with one finger down on the high E string, and like maybe an A, and it was really frustrating at first. I mean, I was young. I was definitely like elementary school. It was frustrating because like, guitar is one of those ones where it's like your fingers just aren't big enough to like make the strings like stay down and everything. So I learned keyboards for a while after that. My uncle gave my brother one of those kid drum sets when my uncle's a drummer. Uncle Steve, shout out to Uncle Steve. And he gave George a drum kit, and I would definitely like play it a lot. And then it sat around in our garage for years, and then I didn't play drums in a band until after high school. I think I'm the best at drums, I guess, of the instruments that I know how to play.
Oh, even currently?
Yeah, I mean, starting to get better. I mean, I could sit in on at least rhythm guitar and try to take a solo or two and do some bass or whatever, but for the longest time, and probably still, like if I was gonna put my best foot forward in like a jam session and there was, I could pick an instrument, it'd probably be drums. Yeah.
I think that's always been kind of my favorite. I guess I don't have like the finger dexterity And
Yeah.
I'm like, drums are just cool. I don't know.
Drums are fun. Yeah.
I
Super
saw
fun.
you play drums actually a few years back.
Oh, yeah?
I forget, somewhere in Santa Cruz.
Oh, yeah?
You were drumming in with Jesse Daniel.
Oh, with Jesse. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I played with Jesse. I recorded Jesse's first album and played drums with him live on and off for years. And up until, actually, the last show I played with him was right the New Year's Eve of 2020. So it was like right before everything shut down. I was out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But he's out in Austin now. He's killing it.
So Jesse Daniel, another Ben Lomond kid, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He's now a
He's blowing up.
country superstar.
Yeah, I guess.
What do we say?
Yeah, yeah. He's. I'm really stoked for him. He's it's all well deserved, but he's definitely getting a lot of acclaim right now.
Yeah.
Busy.
You guys grew up down the street from each other?
Yeah. And
Riverside? Is it Riverside?
I was on Riverside. He actually lived a couple miles up away, like up Love Creek.
Oh, okay.
But he was actually the drummer in my old band too, like my super brother, for a few years during our second record and everything. And
Okay.
yeah, we always would. Yeah, we were like good friends since junior high.
Again, that's another. We were talking earlier about how you just kind of like know people from small towns, but you don't necessarily know him. He was one of those guys that I just like knew who he was. He had a brother, right? Sage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like these people I knew about just from living in a small town. And he wasn't even always a country artist, was he?
No. That was like a surprise when I heard about it, actually, because, yeah, he was like a little scrappy punk kid with a mohawk. And
Yes, I remember that.
I guess, you only know so much about, about people. I guess he grew up listening to, with country in his family and everything, listening to it. But I think he was closeted country guy.
Yeah.
Growing up. He was punk kid. That's how I knew him. Yeah.
Do you listen to country music?
Some, yeah. I mean, I like. My girlfriend's a big fan of country music and exposed me to more of it. And then through working with Jesse and playing with him and some other artists, like I've definitely been exposed to more of it. And I like. It's definitely good. I didn't like grow up a big country fan or anything.
You know who else is really good? Well, you listen to like bluegrass and stuff.
Yeah.
AJ Lee.
Oh, they're great. The Blue Summit.
Blue Summit.
Yeah.
Yes. So I started listening to her when she was with the Tuttles. The Tuttles with AJ Lee.
It does ring a bell, but I don't think they were on my radar so much when they were happening.
It was like 10 years ago, and I saw them play at Don Quixote because I was dating this girl in high school who her family was like this big bluegrass family. And I heard, have you heard of Sam Bush?
Yes.
Like a mandolin player.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. I had never really considered bluegrass. I don't know. I just didn't really hear it. And
Yeah.
I went out and saw them at Don Quixote, and I was hooked. I actually bought a mandolin after that.
They're such good players. It's when you see like a good bluegrass band, it's like mind-boggling just how good of like pickers they are and just players. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you dabbled in bluegrass?
No. I mean, the thing about bluegrass is there is room for it, but there's less room for like drums. There's not that many. There's like jam grass bands, I guess, and bands that are like bluegrass with drums but like, the stars of the show are the stringed instrument players,
They're like
so
picking up a storm.
And I'm like nowhere near good enough to even hang with those guys, so
It's insane for sure.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this group, the Tuttles, and they're like 3 siblings. I think Molly Tuttle, the oldest sibling, she's like on the East Coast, and she's really big now. But they're like these 7 to 10-year-old kids, 3 of them on the couch, and the whole mandolin or guitar is like bigger than they are, and they're just like going crazy.
When I was with the Coffis Brothers, we'd wind up playing a lot of like bluegrass leaning festivals, and we'd kind of be like, because it's more of like a rootsy rock band, it would be kind of like the novelty rock band on the bill often. So we got exposed to a lot of really great bluegrass music and music of that genre.
Coffis Brothers, also a local band. There's just so many local bands from here.
Yeah, it's a very concentrated amount of good music up here. Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen them play live, but they've been a band for a long time, right?
Yeah, since I think 2010, something like that.
Okay.
11, 10, yeah.
And again, a lot of their stuff wasn't on my radar, but I heard this song. I found it on Discover Weekly like a few years back. I think it's like Runaway or something.
Oh,
That
yeah.
song?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And then I was like, I love this. Who is this? And I was like, oh, what? Coffs Brothers?
Yeah,
So,
man.
yeah. What do you think it is? Is it just like all small towns just have this like plethora of just amazing talent like yourself and so many others?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that. Yeah, if you look hard enough wherever you go, you're gonna find good music and good art and talent. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but there does seem to be a lot of good. I grew up with a lot of friends that are making awesome stuff now. Yeah.
You just came off a tour recently, didn't you?
Yeah, a little dip my toes back into the traveling, touring thing. Just a little short week-long run up to the Pacific Northwest, just a solo acoustic run, and that was super fun. My girlfriend Lauren June came with and opened up a couple of the shows, and yeah, it was really good to get out of town and felt like a vacation that paid for itself kind of thing. You know, it was good.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, the shows were great. We played this really cool, fun spot up in Washington Coast. It was called Sou'wester up in Seaview, Washington. And it was this like cool hipster paradise retreat place where it was like these like people could like rent Airstream trailers. There's like a bunch of different places to stay on there. They're all hooked up to electricity and stuff. And then they put us up in like this 2-bedroom apartment upstairs in this old Victorian house. And there's like a bunch of VHS tapes that you can bring up to your room and
That's very hipster.
and TV and like records. And you could bring old record player up to your room and stuff. And super fun. They like let us stay for 3 nights, and we played the 3rd night. So it was like a little vacation at the end, and watched like Office Space and Matilda, and it was a blast. Yeah,
Definitely feels like a blast from the past with those movies.
absolutely, man. Yeah,
Matilda, wow. Yeah, my little sister would watch that on rerun.
yeah,
VHS.
dude, it holds up. I have to say that one
It was on
like,
TV the other day,
it's
actually.
so
Yeah.
good. Danny DeVito
He's hysterical.
crushes it. He directed it too, and like,
Oh.
and the woman who plays his wife is his actual wife, and still is.
I think I did know that.
Yeah, I was
so
doing a
funny.
Google search afterwards. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, Danny DeVito's the man.
That's amazing, though, that you get to like you'll go on a tour and just get to experience these places and just have fun doing what you love.
Yeah.
But it does take effort for sure. And so what is it about playing music that brings you gratification, and what makes you, hungry for more? What is it about it, or, how do you know, or how do you gauge success in what you're doing?
Man, I mean, it sounds like cliche or whatever, but it's like the act of actually making the music is really the most gratifying part of it, I think, for me. I love, and I also love playing live, and I think taking a break from doing it, like last year, made me appreciate it and miss it more, and now getting to do it again, it's like, oh, it's that nice instant gratification. I love recording. That's maybe my favorite part. It's hard to pick like a favorite part, but I do love getting to like have that much control over just and exploring what you can do and adding layers, and I love that part of it. And yeah, I don't love actually releasing things.
Why?
I like the fact that it's released, but it's just it's great to be able to put music out and someone else be able to appreciate it, and you get, most of the time, by the time you put something out, you're kind of almost sick of the song, so it's like time for hopefully someone else to enjoy it,
Yeah.
But no, just the grind of like, I don't know, putting things out, and yeah, I guess it's just a hustle,
Is a part of you not liking putting something out there because is it nerve-wracking at all to have something like so intimate and close to that you've created like out there? Or?
Yeah, and it's funny, like on an independent level too, you send out songs, to like a bunch of different people to try to see if they would share it on, playlists or blogs and things like that, and then you get back like either a copy-pasted, response, or like not really a fan of this one. It's like, worked so hard for 2 years on this song. but then, you get nice responses as well, Yeah, I guess it just takes it out. It becomes more work when it's like almost an opposite mentality, I guess. You know what I mean? Trying to promote yourself and put things out and worrying about all of that stuff and,
Yeah.
your outward image and whatnot. as opposed to like hunkered down in your sweatpants in your room, just like not worried about anything, you know.
Sure.
Writing a song. So
sure. You take a risk.
Yeah.
Putting it out there for sure. This is like doing this podcast is like one of the first times for me where I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to like reach out to people, because through doing like film work, a lot of times people are more willing, like, oh, I'll let you do a video for me if you're going to do it for free. Sure. Because they're getting something out of it. With this podcast, for example, it's like the first time where I'm like, okay, this is like a new thing for me. Do you want to like take a chance and you want to come on? And again, I think it is to hopefully the benefit of the people who come on, because I want to like share their inspiring stories and their amazing artistic abilities like yours. But then again, there's a lot of people who just you'll never hear back from and stuff, and it's like, oh, they hate me.
It can be, but it's such a mental trap. I feel like you just have to like not let yourself go there, because it's like it's cool, and the people, you know, you put it out there, and no one's gonna be mad at you that you put it out there. Just some people, you know, people are living their lives. I think it's awesome. I love podcasts, and I listen to people like talk. You just even like less organized podcasts than this, where it's just like people talking.
This is what this is. It's pretty unorganized.
It's people, yeah, it's true, but you know, but there's like a good sound quality.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
That's half the battle.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I don't know why it's so entertaining, but I listen to so many podcasts. It's like something soothing about it, right? I don't know.
Yeah, someone's a fly on the wall of a conversation. Sound quality is super important. In film, they say like bad sound quality is much less forgivable than a bad shot.
Yeah.
If it had bad audio, it's like for some reason it's like you don't even want to watch the thing.
It's just grating on the ears or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad a professional musician
sounds good in the cans here at least. Yeah.
Okay. That's a headphones, right?
Yeah, I've heard that thrown around at least. Yeah.
You have to teach me all the lingo. What has been like your favorite moment from playing like a live show in your life?
Oh boy.
Big question.
That is a big question. Yeah, there's been multiple shows that are like memorable. Yeah, I mean, playing drums, I've got to play with a couple of like some legends, which was really cool. We got to go up on stage with Mike Campbell from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and his band Dirty Knobs. He had us up with the Coffs Brothers up on stage and singing a song with him, which was like awesome. The last show I played with Jesse out in Tulsa was really cool because it was at this place, Kane's Ballroom, and there's like a couple thousand people there, and he was opening up for a guy, Coulter Wall, and it was like half the crowd singing along with the lyrics of a song that we, you know, recorded a couple years earlier, and a couple songs, you know, and it was just like cool to see. It was like, wow, this is like out in Oklahoma, and there's like all these people that are singing along with this stuff that, I don't know, it's cool to see that kind of growth. I don't know, yeah, I mean, I got to play the Fillmore with the Coffs Brothers, played on the main stage of the Catalyst before. Those were really cool moments because it was like I'd seen so many historic shows, you know, there's in my own history of my life, just seen so many shows that I was and heroes up there. So
that's cool about people hearing them singing along in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that was a trip. That was kind of the first time. I mean, that was the biggest example of that. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is like really caught on. Yeah.
I mean, I've had moments like that where it's like you're working really hard and you're just like doing something for a long time and you don't know if it's going to connect with people. Was that a moment for you where you're like, I put so much effort into my craft of what I'm doing and this is like the moment where I'm seeing that payoff almost?
Yeah, absolutely. Another one, I guess it wasn't a show, but it was like when my last full-length album came out in 2018, and actually in 2016 too, like I got a little mention and then another, like a more of a full write-up in Rolling Stone, which was like crazy just to see. Like that was just a trip. I mean, that was the first EP I put out in 2016, like got one of the songs off it, picked up some steam. It got like picked up by this blog, Indie Shuffle, and then started picking up steam on Spotify and different things. And it was a trip because it was the first thing I'd put out, you know, and I haven't, you know, seen that kind of traction really since then. But it was, but from that, like, I remember just like stumbling upon, because I was like going to be premiering, I was checking to see if something had gone up with the blog that was premiering with songs or something. And then like Rolling Stone article popped up. I was like, what the hell?
Oh, you didn't even know it until you saw it?
Yeah, I like stumbled upon it.
How does that happen?
What the heck?
Don't they reach out and go, hey, we want to write this thing? Or
That didn't happen. No, I mean, I was just mentioned and they said like Henry Chadwick, San Diego artist, but they mentioned my song. It's like, I'm not from San Diego, but I don't care. I'll be from wherever you want me to be. But then, but then a couple years later, I got mentioned again in Rolling Stone. It was more of like a, you know, albums you should check out thing. And that was just like, and again, it was the day the album came out, and it was like, I think my publicist had sent it their way, but we didn't hear anything back, and it just was up, you know.
that's amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was cool. Yeah, you feel like validated, you know, that you've done something. Here's a lot of music is deemed cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There is like an element, like you're doing music and you do art for like your own enjoyment, but there is a level of like validation because like while you enjoy it regardless, like what is it about also being validated by someone saying like, oh, that was really nice, or I really enjoyed that
Yeah.
product you put out.
Sometimes it also depends on, like, I guess another one too. I got like the last album, that same album I got to record with, you know, as a recording engineer, I kind of geek out on recording engineers and like always check the credits and who produced what and whatever. And we sent out to demos to one of my like favorite producers who worked on a lot like Elliott Smith stuff and the Vines and all this stuff and Beck. And it was like, his name is Rob Schnapf, and he got back and liked the stuff, and it ended up working out to go record the album with him. So just that in itself too, like getting to like that's someone whose like opinion I respect more than, you know, any critic really, you know what I mean? He's like someone that helps make a lot of music I really like. So
Right.
that kind of thing is like the are very gratifying, I guess, you know.
Yeah. It feels good when people like believe in you and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you hear it from someone that, yeah, I guess someone that gets what you're going for too, you know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, cool. This is like,
Got it.
I did it right. Nice.
Yeah. Do you ever
Yeah.
hear from people? Sometimes I'll hear as a filmmaker, they'll be like, "Oh, Nick, I wish I was creative like you." I'm like, "No, like everybody's creative." And people tell me that a lot, and they go, "I wish I was creative." And I worked at the Apple Store for a short time, and people would be like, "Oh, I wish I could like do video, and I wish I could be creative." And I'm like, I'm no more creative than you. It's just like in a different way. And it's even like you speaking with a customer selling an iPhone, like it's almost an art form in the way which you talk to someone. And
Right.
creativity comes in so many different ways. And like your art form is music, for example. Do you ever hear that from people like, oh, I wish I was this, or I wish I was that, when they're like talking to you about your music?
I think it's just practice. I mean, I think there's a lot, maybe too much put on like just like talent or like a gift or being creative. It's like the act of, you know, actively working at it and doing it, you know, the skill and just practice, you know, and prioritizing it, right?
Right.
I just read an interesting book from, it was the guy, Jeff Tweedy from the band Wilco. He wrote a book about like how to write a song, basically, you know, it's just like songwriting stuff. But I thought it was really interesting. I'm a fan of theirs, but yeah, he just is like, you got to just put yourself in front of the path of creativity. So I'm banging mics around, banging tables around, making noise here. But yeah, you got to like constantly at least try. Don't like wait for inspiration so much. Like that's almost a little overrated to just like sit around and wait to be, you know, you got to let yourself make some garbage, you know, and just scrap it and start. Cause you know,
it's how you grow and like what you're doing. Just don't wait until something's perfect. Just keep trying. And
yeah, exactly. You don't have
like,
to put it out. There's no risk, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you were to make this album today, My Stupid Brother, like you've progressed as a musician, would you say, or like you would do things different? Or
yeah. I mean, look, it's cringe. I say like it's cringy for me to listen to, and it's like I almost wish it's up there. Like you can listen to this on Apple Music and whatever. Well, thank you. See, I don't want to judge it too harshly. I mean, and I don't regret making it at all because it was like, yeah, the stepping stones and like you learning, you know, I learned so much about. And each record, we made 3 records, and by the third one, I'm genuinely like still proud of as far as like the quality of it and everything. Like I learned a lot about recording, and I kind of took the reins on the production side of that one. And yeah, you just each time you put something out, there's going to be a lot of things that you look back on and you like wish you would have done differently, but that's what making the next thing's for, you know?
The one of the guys that I had on the Vancast was a photographer who actually lives in Mariposa. He was telling me, he's like, perfection exists. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, people always say no one's perfect, or you can't be perfect. And then he said this thing, he's like, it's not too hot in here, it's not too cold. What is it? Oh, it's perfect. And then to someone else, it might be too cold and it's not perfect to them. And then he said, like this album, for example, like it was perfect to you and it made you feel good in the moment. And sure, you look back and there's things that you can change, but it was perfection because it allowed you to move forward or something.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, it's a good way to reframe it. And sometimes good enough is good enough too, you know what I mean? Like sometimes good enough is perfect, right? It's like you got as close as you can to making... So even you could work, and I have worked like way too long on an album, and you end up working a long time, especially if you're doing it all yourself. Like I started working on the new one back in 2019, and you know we had time to just do nothing and work on it because of the shutdown and everything. But I've definitely spent longer working on like the third My Super Brother record. By the time we put it out, the band had pretty much broken up. You know what I mean? And I still put it out, and members of the Coffus Brothers like played with me, and we had like a different sort of lineup. But it was like, you know, you can spend a lot, and I don't regret it because I learned a lot about recording through it. You can spend a lot of time just tweaking on something, and like how worth it is it really? Is it more beneficial to like get it as good as you can, put it out, or don't put it out? But yeah, why not put it out and then make another thing? And like you'll have so many things you will have learned from the last thing. You can make the next thing better.
And people are going to connect with it, or they'll connect with whatever you do next, and then you're just, you know, growing that fan base, and you're connecting with more and more people with your voice and your message.
Yeah, you don't want to don't keep it all to yourself. Yeah. You say you're a filmmaker?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. How'd you get into that, and then how'd you get into podcasting after that?
Wow, yeah, it's such a jump, right?
Yeah.
I started filmmaking, you know, like as a young kid, just doing those backyard videos and stuff, and looking back and cringing and being like, what the heck? But I was fortunate to continue that into college and beyond, working for various companies and things. But I was lucky because it was something, I think it sounds like for you, for music, it was something that I just never lost that passion for. Yeah. Because I think people do go for even like a career, and then they get in that career and they're working in it for a year or two, and they go, oh man, I don't have passion for this anymore. Right. And so I feel very lucky that I knew from like 6th, 7th grade that I wanted to do video for my life. And here I am at 28, and I'm still have that same passion, if not more. That's cool. Podcasting came out of my love of just talking to people. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I've included the video aspect to this year. It's cool. Working in video, I was interviewing a lot of people. And now I work at a hospital, and I interview doctors and patients. And so I have this like love for talking to people. And I'm like, well, how can I incorporate both of those? Mm-hmm. And film and video. Exactly. Video, talking to people. I got this van to kind of be able to do adventure filmmaking. And now I'm like working full time. And I'm like trying to be like the weekend warrior. But I want to do something like utilize the van more. And now I can come to the people, interview people I'm inspired by, such as yourself. Oh. And yeah, that's kind of how it happened. Cool, so, man. What was the name of there was a filmmaker, was the first episode that you put Max Stovall. That was a really cool listen. I listened to that one. That was awesome. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that was a friend of mine. We met at Mount Hermon, actually. So he's from Felton. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. It's always great getting to talk to people that are doing their own version of creativity. Yeah. I don't think there will be a person on here that I would say they're not creative, because whoever I have on, it's like they're passionate about something, and the way they go about it is like an art to them. Yeah, it's a really cool thing you're doing. I like the concept. It's not creepy in here, right? It's the last guy on, he's like, Nick's creepy van pod. Nick's creepy van cat. He was joking, but I was like, no way, man. This is class. It's funny. This is a Dodge Ram van. Yeah. And I parked in this very spot for a few years was a Dodge Ram B250 van, which really did have creepy van vibes, which was it was a 94, and it was like a conversion van, the prime time. And it was my tour van, and I actually loved it because from the outside, it looked like someone might be like living in it, and like not that there was nice gear inside. So it was great for touring because
I mean, we never got broke into or anything, or it just never felt like anyone would want to break into it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so long story short, this is not a creepy van. This is
Okay.
all class.
Yeah, when I ask people, I'm like, oh, you should come on the Vancast. They're like, oh, yeah, maybe.
come in my van. Yeah.
But okay, so you have an album coming out.
Yes.
You talked about it a little bit. What can you give us? Can you give us the name of it, dates, all the good stuff?
Yes, I just revealed on the social medias the artwork and the name and the tour dates and the date, and it's called We All Start Again, and the artwork is really cool. I think it was done by another musician and artist named Caitlin Gowdy. She's in a band called the Rainbow Girls, based up in the North Bay, and the album's called We All Start Again, and it's 13 tracks. It's coming out October 29th, and I've put out 4 songs from it so far as singles, and
Which are phenomenal.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So good, yeah.
I put out one of them last year just because it started to just sort of like, maybe we'll just put stuff out as it's done, and I wasn't sure what it was going to be, like an EP or full length, and then like enough time went by and more songs developed. I was like, oh, I guess it's like more than a full length. It's like, I mean, it's fully full length, 13 tracks. I'm really proud of it, and definitely, what can I say about it compared to other stuff? I know you heard it actually. Did you listen to some of it? Yeah.
I got a sneak peek.
Yeah.
We'll say I didn't know if I could say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the whole thing, it's solid. It's so good. I'm so excited for you to share it with the world.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it's definitely got like a little more of a mellow and trippy vibe for a lot of it. I mean, not like super trippy, but it gets a little trippy now and again, right?
Yeah.
And, a little more singers, a little more, there's some more acoustic guitar in some songs and some piano in a song, and I don't know. I'm proud of it, and I can't wait for it to be out there. It feels like it's finally to the point where I've like sat on it long enough where I'm like sick of it, which is a good sign. It's like means it's time for it to be out there in the world, you know?
Yeah, you've heard the songs a million times.
I've heard the songs so much the last 2 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What's the inspiration behind the name? We All Start Again?
There's a song on it called We All Start Again. It's the second to last song on it, and there's another song, 10 Minute Rain, where I say we start again as part of the lyrics. Yeah, it started to sort of feel like there was a couple themes kind of going throughout it, and not to date myself, but I turned 30 this year, and with the shutdown too, and with everything, it felt like a weird, like a kind of almost a little reset, which was actually, when it first happened, it was like not fun at all, obviously for a lot of reasons, but at the same time, it was kind of a nice reset, like to just not have any expectations or anything to do really for a while, at the beginning of last year. Obviously the circumstances why that happened was not good, but like, I guess I was doing a lot of soul searching, so to speak, and just thinking about why am I doing this? Why am I making music? It's easy to get burnt out and just kind of get in a pattern, and just like a pattern of booking shows and releasing things, and I don't know, when there's nothing else to do, I still was just, what I wanted to do more than anything was like make music. And I guess kind of like what we talked about, where it's like the reason for doing it is because that's like what makes life good. I think it's maybe a slightly more mature sounding album than old albums of mine, and maybe rocks less hard sometimes, but there's a couple songs that rock, would you say?
You have it all.
Hit a little hard in there.
Yeah.
And it gets a little tender for some songs. Yeah, I think there's definitely just references lyrically to like time and does that make sense? Am I rambling?
No, for sure.
Okay, cool.
For me, it's like when I think about my life, I'm like, oh, one day. I still feel like when I grow up one day, like what's it going to look like?
Yeah.
I'm like an adult. I'm an adult. I'm 28 now.
Yeah.
But I think what I've realized is there are events that happen now where it's like, okay, something happens, then all of a sudden you think about life in a new way. And I feel like the pandemic kind of hit this switch for me where I also started a new job mid-pandemic. So now I'm like, a year ago feels like a whole different life.
Absolutely.
So I feel like now I'm like doing a job that I very well could retire from. And I don't know, I just feel like different. So I feel like, I don't know if it takes events. Hopefully it doesn't always take a pandemic, but I feel like there's events where it's like I'm starting again almost. Is that kind of
Yeah, absolutely. I think that does sum it up nicely, and like that did trigger it for me too. Just like having something to be like, okay, none of that stuff matters so much. Like you can just kind of be, you know what I mean, and you can start something new. You could do something, you know, and it's never really too late to do that, I guess, you know. And I think leading into like turning 30 too, there's like a mental, you know, like when you think about when you're younger, thinking about when you're older, you're like, I'll be doing this and this and this. And then it's like, well, I'm kind of doing all the same things I was just doing when I was in high school, I guess.
just like kind of morphs?
More of it, and it morphs and at a different level. But it's like, yeah, I guess you stop thinking about like life as like what it will be. And you just are like, well, I guess I'll just live in life now, and I could do whatever I want to with it.
And you are doing a very good job of it.
Well, thanks, man.
So what's the best place to find your content, your stuff? We have your, obviously we have your Instagram up here on the very fancy light board.
Oh, look at that. You get the underscores and everything.
Got you covered.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can follow me on all the social medias. That's always appreciated. I'm always posting stuff on whenever there's something new on Instagram or Facebook. Not as good at being consistent with Twitter, but I try. And then my website is henrychadwick.net. I didn't want to pay the whatever $1,000 to get .com.
Was that like a common thing?
Yeah, there's a couple other historical Henry Chadwicks. There's this guy that invented the baseball scoreboard, and then there's like this theologian guy. Both of them have passed away. But
so you're the man now.
But someone has holding the website hostage. Think they can get some money for it. So
do you ever get phone calls like, "Hey, are you the guy who invented the baseball scoreboard?"
No, but I have had like an article written up about. It was like a weird blog a few years ago that was like, yeah, I think it was someone like had done a Google search about my music, and those other guys came up, and it was like, wait a second, he was like trying to make jokes about me being the father of baseball, but I don't know. But yeah, that, and then music's up on all the spots, Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube and everywhere. And yeah, if you want to check that out and save the new tunes, give them a listen, and give me a follow on there if you are a Spotify person or Apple Music person.
And the date is October 29th.
Yeah.
October 29th. Do not forget.
Yeah. And if you do follow me on like Spotify or whatever, then you get that little release radar playlist, right? The new music pops up in there, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
I find I like keeping up to date with my favorite artists on there.
I follow Discover Weekly and Release Radar. Friday morning, I woke up, turned my phone on, Henry Chadwick's face.
There you go.
Staring me down.
There you go.
Wake up, Nick. Listen to my music. And everybody should as well. Henry Chadwick, I think we might be in store for some music possibly, right?
I'm definitely game if you want, yeah.
Kicking off Vancast music sessions. I don't have a name for it yet, but
I like it. It's got a ring to it.
You can help me come up with a name as the very first artist. Cool. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for coming to the Vancast.
Thanks so much for having me, Nick. This was awesome.
Woo.
Right on.
All right.
Hey, everyone. My name is Henry Chadwick, and you're watching Nick's Vancast Sessions. This song's called Bloodshot. As a bloodshot, you should have thought more about this morning last night, but you were busy making friends and plans that you don't plan on keeping for too long. Start telling a story and you realize that it doesn't have an ending, and you watch them hanging on your words like they're all verses from their favorite song. Then the look of disappointment when they find out you got every lyric wrong. When things get hard, talk about their problems in the past tense once they solve them. But memories tend to leave behind an honest piece of everybody's mind. You wrote a song about a song she wrote about people who write songs about writing songs that were inspired by some other things that came before. I guess he could have just played the song he didn't mean to say.